Pirate I Was Dug Up by Robin, Chapter 1-20. Chapter 1 The Battle of the Island of God Marine Iron Triangle, New Book Seeking Flower Evaluation. Sea Circle Calendar 1484. God's Island. The endless sea rolled up thousands of waves. The sky was dark, and the thick dark clouds were deposited and densely covered. The thunder rumbled, echoed in the sky, and lasted for a long time. The purple electric snake disappeared in the clouds, penetrating the sky and the sea. The mountain and rain are about to come and the wind is full of buildings. Whether it is the changes in natural weather or the expressions of the people on this island, it seems to herald a major event to come. Marines standing on the reef on the coast of a special island named God. The righteous cloak behind him squeaked in the wind. It's Roland Vice Admiral, Garp Vice Admiral and Sengoku Vice Admiral. Our strongest trio in Marine, this is so reliable. Now that Kong Admiral is the only player in Marine's highest combat power, they are Marine's hope. With the Zephyr Vice Admiral on the other side, we in Marine don't know if there will be a grand occasion of 4 admirals standing side by side. Stop gossiping, get ready and let the bastards of the Rocks pirates know how good we are. Teams of sailors passing by the coast came whispering, and the eyes of the trio on the reef were full of reverence. As long as those 3 people are there, even if they are about to face the invasion of the overlord of the sea, they are not afraid at all. It's almost here, those bastards. On the left side of the reef, the man with black short hair, with a strong physique, his muscles like a horned dragon holding up the marine uniform spoke in a deep voice. He is Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp of Marine Headquarters. All kinds of fortifications have been basically prepared, and I hope to play a role in blocking and weakening the combat power of that monster pirate group as much as possible, and even if it is bad, it can slightly reduce the destruction of the island. Vice Admiral Sengoku, who was neatly trimmed and had a ball-like hairstyle, had a solemn opening. It's useless. Standing between Garp and Sengoku, Youth, Vice Admiral spoke. Sengoku you should know the abilities of the Rocks gang. The moment they decide to attack this island, the island can be wiped off the map. Youth, Vice Admiral's name is Luo Lin, he looks young and still, but in fact his age is not a few years younger than Garp and Sengoku. After all, the 3 of them have been fighting side by side on this sea for 10 years. After 10 years of friendship, they are not relatives, they are more like relatives. This is the comrade in arms feeling honed in 10 years of battlefield. Although the 3 of them talked about everything on weekdays, Luo Lin actually hid a secret. A secret that only he knows so far, and will never tell anyone in the future. He is not from this world. To be precise, for this world, Roland is a traveler. About 10 years ago, Luo Lin, who died unexpectedly in his previous life, traveled to this more magnificent world of pirates, and awakened a special, god, system Goldfinger. With this special system Golden Finger, Luo Lin started his journey of becoming a god in the world of pirates. Along the way, I have met many people, and I have had many firsts, and I have become stronger and stronger in the near-death experiences again and again, and become famous in the sea. However, 10 years ago, because of an encounter with a certain beautiful girl Colonel Marine, Roland ended his Lone Ranger journey and joined the Marine family. During the 10-year Marine career, Luo Lin made many friends. Example, the Garp the Fist and Sengoku the Buddha in front of him, the Black Arm Zephyr on the other side of the island, the Marine Admiral who passed away not long ago who gave him a lot of convenience, and the girl who kept cutting and messing up. Hey, Roland, are you missing Suru again? I knew that every time you put on such an expression, you must be thinking of her, so go see her if you want. It's on an island anyway. Looking at the tangled expression on Roland's face, Garp suddenly showed a look of seeing through everything. Seeing you, how could I miss her? It's too late to avoid her. Every meeting is a long lecture. It's annoying, Luo Lin said angrily. Ha ha ha, everyone is saying no, but the body is very honest. Sengoku teased. Sengoku, I don't like to hear what you say. It's okay if you say Luo Lin, why are you looking at me? Garp expresses strong condemnation and dissatisfaction with Sengoku's remarks that he has also included him in the ranks of discreditable integrity. This guy Sengoku said that you were so reluctant to come to the Island of God to participate in the war before, but you are not standing here now. Roland said. Garp was at a loss for words, his face blushed, and he was speechless for a while. Because it is. Garp's first reaction was to refuse when he learned that the Sea Lord Rox was about to lead an attack on the Island of the Gods, which had almost the same status as the Holy Land Mariajoy, and Marine would do his best to defend it. Because the justice in his heart does not allow him to protect the Tianlong pig, which is full of evil on this island. But now he's still standing here. Luo Lin, you have the face to talk to me, and you are not the same. Obviously we both agreed to ask for leave together, you are not standing here now. After thinking for a long time, Garp finally spoke. Looking at Luo Lin with a smug look on his face, he wanted to see how he answered this question. Garp, don't get me wrong, I didn't come here to protect some Tenryubito and guard this Roshi Island. Roland said. Then what are you here for? Garp wondered. Of course I'm here to protect you. If you all die here, I'll be alone in the future. Don't worry, with me, none of you want to die in front of me. Luo Lin said confidently. Hearing this, Sengoku and Garp rolled their eyes together. Although I wanted to refute it, I couldn't find a point to refute it for a while. Because, this is the style of their best friend, Roland. Come. Chapter 2 The luxurious lineup of the Rox Pirates. Come. On the reefs of the Island of God, Luo Lin suddenly opened his mouth. Just as his voice fell, the first-level red alarm of the entire Island of God sounded. All fire weapons begin to fill. All marine officers and soldiers quickly entered the fighting state. Woo tilde. The next second, a heavy horn sounded. However, it did not come from the Island of God. The horn sounded from the end of the sea. The plundering horn belonging to the overlord of the sea, the Rox Pirates. The almost substantive sound waves spread out in all directions, causing the sea to rise in waves. Good moment. The horn sound stopped. A black line appears at the end of the sea level. It was one pirate ship with a skull flag hanging on it. Belonging to the master of the sea, Rox, is riding the wind and waves. Wow ha ha ha. On the gigantic overlord ship headed by him, the red-haired sea overlord Rox put down his horn and let out a frantic laugh that scared the world. Little ones, are you ready? Treasures, women, and everything in this world can be found on that island in Tenryubito, the best hunting ground. The Sea Lord Rox is like thunder, echoing over the huge fleet. Gia ha 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 ha, Captain Rox, my flying army is already ready, let's make a big fuss. There was another loud laughter from the sky. The person who came was wearing an orange royal fur coat. His long golden hair was as long as a lion's mane, and his figure was floating in the air without any assistance. Superior. That was Golden Lion Shiki, the fourth-ranked flying commander of the Rox Pirates. Well, will there be any delicious cake on that island? I want the best cake in the world. On another pirate ship decorated with candies and snacks, a 5-meter-tall, slender, curvy young female pirate laughed loudly. Charlotte Linlin, who loves sweet cakes and has the name of Big Mom. When she was a child, she was able to kill the hero warriors of the giant clan with her bare hands. Her monster power is evident. Even if she doesn't have the battle strength of the 4 emperors in the future, she is not an ordinary person. Otherwise it would not have been possible for the Rox to confer the post of commander of the 9th Corps. Kaido of the Beasts, who will be the 4 emperors with her in the future, is still just an intern of the Rox Pirates. Without Zone mythical dragon fruit and immortal body, is now inconspicuous among the monster-swarmed overlord pirates. Even the marine side will definitely not regard him as the main target, except for Roland. Luo Lin, who knows the future direction, of course knows what level the current intern Kaido will grow to in the future. Since he is marine, he is obliged to nip the threat in its cradle. If they meet later, kill them with all their strength, Luo Lin planned. At the same time, Kaido, an intern who was valued by rocks, shivered for no apparent reason, and felt a chill in his heart. Wow, ha ha ha, little ones, taking this island of God is only the first step. As long as we can defeat the marine on the island and find the ultimate, hidden on that island, then the next goal is the Red Earth continent. On the Holy Land Mariajoy. Take Mariajoy, I am the king of the world, and all of you are veterans and important ministers. It is not a problem to break the territory, this world will belong to us, ha 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 ha. Rocks, the master of the sea, speaks of a brilliant future with impassioned enthusiasm. As a result, the greedy pirates who heard his ambition burst into cheers like never before. The fighting intent, murderous aura and killing intent of countless monsters in the New World were mixed and tangled, soaring into the sky, and even the dark clouds in the sky collapsed. Gudong Gudong. John, the commander of the first corps of the Rocks pirates, drank the wine from the bottle in one gulp, holding the double swords around his waist with both hands. Captain Rocks, I want half of that island's treasure. Ho 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 ho, you're still as greedy as ever, John. The commander of the third corps, with squinting eyes with long black beard, stood with a pirate named Akoku caressing his beard. Of course it's still the old rule, whoever grabs what's on the island will own it. Armed with a silver-plated axe, the 5th Silver Axe Legion commander roared fiercely. Hey, Newgate, aren't you going to say a few words? The commander of the 7th Army looked at a middle-aged whitebeard pirate not far away. Kala la la la, treasure or something, I already said I'm not interested. The commander of the 2nd Army under Rocks, and the head of the 4 emperors decades later, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, the strongest man in the world, laughed. Giggle, since you don't want treasure in Newgate, then I'll accept it for you. The commander of the 6th Army Corps, who was all female, said with a smirk. All I want to pursue is my family. Looking at the so-called companions around him, the middle-aged Whitebeard sighed softly. Newgate. At this moment, the roar of Overlord Rocks came from the huge main ship Overlord. Let the storm come harder, Newgate. Rocks grinned wildly, his red hair fluttering like demonic tentacles. Since I'm here, that's all I can do. Aged Whitebeard Edward Newgate put away the slight loneliness on his face, got up and walked towards the bow. When the supremely fast knife Kong Yuncut, which is about to be completely transformed into a black knife, will be nailed into the deck. It's coming, it's coming. The ability of the monster Whitebeard, the strongest paramesha that destroys the world. The Haikwan that shakes the fruit is finally coming. Just let those marines have a taste of our hello. Amid the screams of the ferocious New World monsters, the middle-aged Whitebeard made fists with both hands, hitting the atmosphere heavily. Kakaka. The atmosphere cracked. Boom. The sea is shaking and then overturning. The Battle of the Island of God starts at this very moment. At the same time, the far sea on the other side of the Island of God. A pirate ship with a flag like the waves of the sea sank up and down in the turbulent sea waves. They are the freest beings in this sea. Roger, what should I do? The war has already begun. Asked the middle-aged man with blonde hair and a lightning scar on his eyes. I already know that the island in the name of God is not just a place of pleasure for the world aristocrat Tenryubito. There is also a certain, ultimate, of the world hidden in it, the only one that can never fall even if it is destroyed. In the hands of a careerist like the Rocks. Quote. Galdi Roger, the captain of the Roger Pirates, spoke in a deep voice. That's the only way to go. Spark Gabon, who held 2 black axes, had high fighting spirit. Roger and Rayleigh were silent. Half an hour. Wait a second, I don't want to see that bastard roll in too soon. Roger raised his hand and stroked his forehead, only to feel a pain in his head. Crew of the Roger Pirates nodded in agreement. ... New book, Joe, set sail. And an old book reissue. And add more. The new book set sail, seeking support for collections, flowers, and evaluations. Friends who see the cover and profile feel familiar. Don't doubt that the old book is reissued. There was something wrong with the last book when it was about to be put on the shelves, so it couldn't be put on the shelves. So the author has resolutely started again. And learn from the experience and lessons of the previous book. This book will be better written. I hope everyone can support, vote, send flowers. The more the better. Closer to home. One more update for every 1,000 flowers before the shelves. One more update for every 500 reviews. Hit me though, I can handle it. Funny. Third chapter, The Fall of the Overlord. 3 days and nights. This tragic war, which took place on the island of gods, which can be called the highest level of the sea, has lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days ago, the tsunami caused by the strongest paramesha shaking through the ability of the Prime Age Whitebeard opened the prelude to the Battle of the Island of Gods. Facing the overwhelming terrifying tsunami that would submerge the entire island, the 112-year-old predecessor, Frozen Admiral, burned his last vitality and issued the last ice age of his life, freezing it. Marine on the island was thankful for it. Golden Lion Shiki, commander of the 4th Army of the Overlord Rocks Pirates. The powerful paramesha fluttering fruit ability is activated, and it controls more than 100 pirate ships under rocks to fly into the sky, breaking through the coastal defense line laid by Marine from the air. To make Marine's many days of arranging to be useless. The battle took a turn for the worse. Quickly turned to hand. The powerful master of the sea, the Rocks pirates scattered all over the island of God. In just an instant, the flames of war were burning all over the island of God. Turn this Tenryubido's island of the gods, into the most tragic battlefield. Now 3 days later. The island of the gods, once home to one of the world's most spectacular cities, has turned into a scorched earth. That once served the pleasure of the world noble Tenryubido no longer exists. The entire island was torn apart and crumbling in the sea, as if it might sink at any time. The war and gunpowder on the island also came to an end, indicating that this tragic battle is coming to an end. Rocks, you've lost, all your subordinates have fled, what can you do alone now? You've reached your limit, and this war is our Marine victory. Bloody Marine Vice Admiral Garp endured the pain and shouted. Not far from this battlefield, there are Marine Admiral Kong, Black Arm Zephyr, and Sengoku the Buddha and many other Marine powerhouses. Only Marine who still has the strength to stand and can stand is Garp. Rocks, surrender, your plans have gone bankrupt, and the secret about that, ultimate, has been destroyed by me. There was another person standing beside Garp. But it is not Sengoku, nor is it Luo Lin, the pirate Galdi Roger. One day after Marine's war with the Overlord Rocks pirates, the Roger pirates finally came to the island. It is precisely because of Roger's timely arrival that Roland can safely hand over the Sea Lord Rocks to Garp and Roger to deal with. As a free man, he assisted various war zones and confronted the army commanders under Rocks. It was precisely because of Roland's timely release of support that finally established Marine's victory. Because for the past 10 years, Roland has been the nightmare of all pirates in the sea. Even the commanders of the Rocks pirates, the masters of the sea, are no exception. Whitebeard saw the corners of his eyes twitch. When Golden Lion saw his face darkened, he cursed. Kaido ran away when he met him, and when he was about to die, he was rescued by Big Mom Charlotte Linlin and escaped. Wow, ha, what a bunch of useless guys. It was my mistake to go to war with that bunch of useless things, but... Rocks, the sea overlord who was also covered in blood, added blood on the knife's edge. Even though I am dead today, I am still the overlord of the sea that has been the best in an era. The sea overlord Rocks had bloody long hair flying all over his head, and his momentum suddenly sublimated and skyrocketed. He is burning his own life force. He's going to fight the final battle. Life or death. Then let's start with you two bastards. The blade of the Sea Lord Rocks points to Roger and Garp. Everything shatters. A ruthless voice resembling the chanting of an evil spirit in hell came out of Rock's mouth. Rox jumped up, and the broken black knife in his hand slashed down at Roger and Garp, who were also exhausted. Garp. On the scorched black ground in the distance, Sengoku crawled along with his blood-stained body, glaring angrily and roaring hoarsely. Bastard, don't forget me. At this moment, a thunderous sound came from far to near, accompanied by a harsh sonic boom. At the same time, the presence of speed or above the speed of sound arrives in an instant. That's Roland. Even after 3 days of tragic battles, he is still unparalleled in hockey. Relying on the resilience of the monster's body, he couldn't even see the slightest scar on his body. Just as the dense white lines were about to cover Roger and Garp, Roland appeared. The black knife swung out, severing the shattering web, and at the same time severing the body of Rox, the overlord of the sea. Poof! There was blood splashing. Not just Rox. And Roland's. Rox, almost awakened smashing power is shattered by ordinary people. Even Rollins is no exception. While using the armament black knife to slash the smashing power, Luo Lin's body cracked like the black knife in his hand. Blood poured out like a fountain of no money, spilling on Garp and Roger's bodies and mouths. The next moment, I don't know if it's because of anger or something else. A steady stream of power poured out of Garp's body. Rox. With a roar that dominates the world, Garp's figure shot out. Rox, who was almost unconscious. Boom. Chapter 4: The Coronation of Heroes. Body like a meteor, fist like a meteorite. Marine Vice Admiral Garp's anger exploded with his punch. Rox, the overlord of the sea, who had already been at the end of the road under Roland's slash, was no longer able to resist, and was hit in the chest by Garp's angry punch. Boom. Rox D. Zebek's chest collapsed suddenly. The body fell on the ground of the Island of God like a shooting star. Boom. The Island of God was completely collapsed. Ended. The Battle of the Isle of God between Marine and the Master of the Sea ended with the demise of the Master of the Sea, Rox. Roland. A very flustered female voice came from the scorched earth in the distance. The young Marine female Rear Admiral Crane stumbled over, holding the blood-stained Roland in her arms. Bean-sized tears dripped onto Luo Lin's bloody face. Roland, you bastard, hurry up and wake me up. Garp half kneeled to the ground, desperately yelling. Roland bastard, don't play with me. I'm afraid of you. If you wake up now, I will write off all the things you did to me before. Roger fell weakly to the ground. After so many years as a pirate, it was the first time he hoped that a Marine would survive. Especially the bastard whose Roger pirates have had many unforgettable crashes. Roland, haven't you always boasted that you are immortal? Hurry up and prove it to me. Sengoku's body dragged a long bloody path on the scorched ground and climbed to Roland's side. In Rear Admiral Crane's arms, Luo Lin, whose body was soaked in blood, remained unresponsive. No heartbeat, no breathing, nothing. Roger was silent. Garp yelled angrily, and Sengoku was weeping. In the past 10 years, they have witnessed countless miracles that happened to Roland. No matter how many injuries, the next day this guy will be alive again and stronger. It's like he's really immortal. But things seem a little different today. From the Sea Lord Rox nearly shattered Roland to pieces. In 10 years, they had never seen Roland suffer such severe trauma. Could it be that even his monster constitution is invalid? Please, be happy, I'll never preach to you again. Rear Admiral Crane whimpered. Huh. At this moment, Rear Admiral noticed the strangeness in his arms and opened his beautiful eyes, which happened to meet a pair of bright eyes. You said it yourself, and you can finally stop worrying. From death, Roland grinned with a big smile. Rear Admiral Crane was stunned, Garp was stunned, Sengoku was stunned, Roger. Fuck you, cheating. Roger widened his eyes in horror. Sengoku and Garp felt the same way, but not as fast as Roger. Today, Rollins once again performed a miracle in front of their eyes. "Fuck you, you're a fucking corpse." Roland, who was lying in Rear Admiral's warm embrace, raised his leg and kicked Roger a somersault, then sighed. "Oh, it's so sad that it's not dead again. Sengoku, Garp, Roger." If it wasn't for the exhaustion of their strength, they really wanted to put aside their identities as pirates and marines and join forces to beat Roland. Puff. For Luo Lin's rude remarks, Rear Admiral Crane did not preach as usual, but burst into laughter. "As long as Roland can survive, then everything else doesn't matter. Suru, although you are beautiful, you don't want all your beautiful snot bubbles to come out. They all dripped on me," Roland said, dissatisfied. Bang. From the rear, Admiral Crane hit Roland's eye socket. Rear Admiral got up angrily, and no longer let Luo Lin enjoy her sweet embrace. Ha ha ha. The scene suddenly burst into cheerful laughter. Smile, laugh, and laugh. Roland gave Sengoku, Garp, and Roger 3 kicks one after another. "Best friend, what's going on with you this time? In the past, it was just a little bit more serious. This time, I was almost cut into pieces and still survived. If you don't die, we will all be scared to death. Garp, open your mouth." Both Sengoku and Roger pricked up their ears. "I told you a long time ago that I am immortal, and I can't die anyway. If you don't believe me, there is nothing you can do," Luo Lin said casually. This time, Garp, Sengoku and Roger rarely jeered without hesitation. Pat. Roger has an extra pair of seastone handcuffs on his left hand. Huh. Roger was startled. You are revenge for your kindness. Then you don't run fast. When Garp recovers a little, you really won't be able to leave, Roland reminded. Yeah. Roger was startled again, and without hesitation he gathered up the remaining strength, turned around and ran. Ha ha ha. The Island of God incident came to an end when Luo Lin and the others laughed and looked at the future One Piece King of Pirates in their embarrassed run. A few hours later, ships from the Marine headquarters and the world government arrived one after another. All the wounded and dead on the island were sent to the warships. The wounded are treated and the deceased are sent back to their hometowns. Roland and Garp also set foot on the warship returning to Marine headquarters. Luo Lin and his party were picked up by Marine. A group of men in black belonging to the world government came to the center of the battle and quickly collected the undried blood on the ground together with the soil. ... 3 days later, Marine headquarters Marineford. When the warship carrying the hero back home sailed into the port, the entire Marine headquarters suddenly sounded like a tsunami of cheers. The hero is crowned at this time. ... Chapter 5, Killing Mariajoy one by one. Outside the number. Big news, the overlord of the sea, the rocks, fell, and the rocks pirates fell apart. The Battle of the Isle of God is over, Marine is victorious. Hero Roland, Hero Garp. They are the heroes of the world. Hey, Equilem, Mr. Roland and Mr. Garp are so handsome. Yes, Prince Cobra. ... The biggest battle on the sea in this era ended, and its related reports spread all over the world in just one day, shaking the whole sea. At the same time, there are 2 names that shocked people. Rollins and Garp. Rocks, the master of the sea. They are undeserved heroes. ... A week after the end of the war, the appointment of the world government was issued, and it was prepared to promote Luo Lin and Garp to fill the 2 vacant admiral positions at the same time, and reform Marine 3 Admiral with Kong. As soon as the news came out, the entire Marine was boiling and excited. But then, something even more unexpected happened. Whether it was Roland or Garp, they both rejected the appointment and released the world government, Martial Marine and even the pigeons of the entire Marine. Marine soldiers who were waiting to watch the admiral appointment in Marineford Square were all messed up in the wind. At this moment, Luo Lin and Garp, who should have received the attention of Marine and the honorable coronation of admiral, are competing for the big eaters who eat meat and drink in big bowls. Dad, Uncle Roland, you guys are starting again. Monkey D, a boy with a broad forehead who looked no more than 13 or 14 years old, held his forehead with his hands, and his immature face was full of helplessness. Don't interrupt, Long, I have to win this guy this time. I'm not afraid of anyone else when it comes to eating me, Garp. Garp said confidently. When did you beat me in the Big Eater game? Roland said vaguely, and Garp was so angry that he stuffed 3 big bones on the spot, and then choked. Mr. Roland, it is indeed you. Boy Monkey D, a squinting boy a few years older than him, looked at Luo Lin admiringly. His name is Borsellino. Marine headquarters by Luo Lin from his hometown in the New World, and he boarded Luo Lin's warship with the dragon to cultivate as an elite seed. Roland, Garp. At this moment, the arrogant voice of Rear Admiral came from far and near. I knew you two were hiding here. Do you two know how embarrassing it is for the Marshal to stand alone on the stage? Rear Admiral said angrily. The Marshal is still telling jokes to all Marines in order to wait for you. Sengoku followed. Marshal. Tell a joke. Ha ha ha. Roland and Garp looked at each other and laughed in unison. ... Admiral's inauguration ceremony ultimately failed due to Roland and Garp's insistence. For the heroes of these two wars, even the government now dare not speak out. The storm also faded over time. Another week has passed in the blink of an eye. Garp, who were drinking together leisurely, were found by the Marine medical team. What? You want us to check our bodies? If we don't go, we won't go. Our brothers are healthy, we just ate a sea king. Garp categorically refused. Luo Lin was rarely silent, looking at the unfamiliar faces of the arriving medical team with deep eyes. Garp Vice Admiral, Luo Lin Vice Admiral, Zephyr Vice Admiral and Sengoku Vice Admiral have all been re-examined, and they did find some sequelae of the war, and some hidden wounds should be treated early. The captain of the medical team persuaded bitterly. No going, no going. Garp still categorically refused. What's the matter? Just go check it out, I'll go. Roland got up. Ah. Hearing this, the captain of the medical team was immediately flattered, and almost shouted out in joy. Then, Roland Vice Admiral, please this way. The medical captain bowed diligently. Roland didn't look sideways, strode forward, and no one in the audience noticed the anger and killing intent in his eyes. Hey, this guy, I took the wrong medicine today. Garp smiled incomprehensibly. Brother, go back quickly, I'll wait for you. Got it. Roland waved his back to Garp, as if saying goodbye. Garp, remember to say sorry to Suru for me. Ha ha ha, brother, how did you get Suru offended? Garp laughed, but he never got a response from Roland. 20 minutes later. A medical room on the edge of the Marine headquarters underground base. Walked into the airtight medical testing equipment at the request of the unfamiliar medical captain. Chi. At the moment when the instrument was turned off, a large amount of hypnotic gas poured in. At the same time, 5 sedative guns, enough to stun 20 tyrannosaurs, were injected into Roland under control. Ha 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 ha, I really didn't expect that everything would go so smoothly. What, the rumored hero Luo Lin is just like this. He was deceived by us so easily. But, don't you think this is too smooth? And he's a marine hero? Someone asked, feeling slightly uneasy. Heroes should give all of themselves for this world, and sacrifice themselves to benefit the world. What a glory. I can't wait to cut open his body and study. The real immortal body, what effect will the blood directly extracted from his body have? Cut off his limbs, will he ever regenerate? Eating his flesh and blood will bring the dying back to life. Even immortality. It's unbearable. All the members of the government biological research team in the closed room showed a sickly cruel smile. Kaka. What sound? Someone moved Vivi's ear, and then pointed in the direction of the sleeping cabin with a look of horror. Bang! The next moment, the sleeping cabin made of special alloy lit up with fine rays of light, like a chessboard, and then shattered, in the horrified eyes of government biological researchers. That's it. I thought the government could be so impatient, and plan to attack me at this juncture. It turns out that you idiots made up their own minds, but it doesn't make any difference sooner or later. Roland stepped out calmly, but beneath that calm appearance was hiding a monstrous anger. Why didn't you fall into a coma? Who do you think I am? Roland mocked Isho lightly and waved his hand. Another chessboard-like fine light was generated and passed by. So the world is quiet. All the researchers in the house turned into piles of neat cubes of flesh. Now, it's time to go up and take a look. Roland stepped on the moon step. One person, one knife, killing Mariajoy. Chapter 6 Chopping Mariajoy Open Black Lens Bracket Seeking Flower Evaluation Close Black Lens Bracket. 10 years ago, when he realized that the place he had traveled through was the world of pirates, Roland had already begun to think about overthrowing the world government. Originally, Luo Lin planned to spend another 10 or even 2 decades to separate Marine. By the way, let's join forces with Roger and Whitebeard to declare war on the world government. Just not right now. Joined Marine, Roland has never concealed the undead constitution that he has because of the special system. For Roland's special constitution, the world government has been interested in it for 2 years. However, because of Roland's vice admiral status, the world government has always been restrained. Until the Battle of the Isle of Gods 2 weeks ago. The biggest threat on the sea, the Rocks pirates, has died. In addition, it was learned that Roland was directly subjected to the crushing force of rocks, and even came back to life. Finally, the government could no longer hold back its inner hope. After analyzing the blood samples that Roland had left on the Island of Gods and learning about the unique aura of life contained in them, even the highest levels of the world government were alarmed. Cross the river and demolish the bridge. Kill the donkey. Do not. The world government just wants the heroes to be heroes for them one more time. Just why? Roland has never been able to rub sand in his eyes. Even if it is the self-assertion of those idiots this time, the world government that knows the value of the blood in his body will sooner or later take action against him. Then implicate Tsuru, Garp, Sengoku, Zephyr in the future. It is better to be happy and free today alone. What's more, Roland had long imagined the scene of going to Mariajoy to kill him countless times. After the Battle of God's Island, Luo Lin relied on the system's feedback, and his strength was even above the level of the 4 emperors. The physical defense power far exceeds that of later generations of Big Mom, the physical resilience far exceeds that of Kaido of the Beasts, the 3-color Haki who is at the peak of perfection, and the back feeding from Rocks, the overlord of the sea, is not weaker than Whitebeard's shock fruit. Shatter ability buff. Roland was confident that he could kill 7 in 7 outs in Mariajoy, and finally left calmly. After thinking about it, Luo Lin, who was carrying a large and sharp knife on his shoulders, reached the top of the red clay continent. Another 5 minutes. Roland came to the Holy Land Mariajoy. Roland Vice Admiral, what are you doing here today? The soldier guarding the gate asked. Boom. Conqueror Haki surged out. Split second, all the soldiers in front of and behind the main gate of Mariajoy fell to the ground. Roland carried Chu Xiao with one hand and calmly hummed into Mariajoy. I've come here, so let's go and kill Tenryubito who molested Tsuru last time. It can be considered compensation. Luo Lin thought to himself. 3 minutes later. Several Tenryubitos in the southwest area of Mariajoy enjoying their own swimming pool were separated from their heads, and the pool water was stained with blood. It's all killed, so I don't mind killing a few more. Luo Lin thought to himself. 5 minutes later, the entire Mariajoy was in total chaos. In less than 10 minutes, reports of attacks were received in various places. No less than 20 Tenryubito have already died in their homes, and the number of victims continues to increase. Slave prisons all over the city were liberated one by one, making Mariajoy even more chaotic. 800 years since the Holy Land was established, this is an unprecedented first-level event. Hereafter known as the Dark Day of the Holy Land Mariajoy. After an hour. After completing the liberation of the last prison, Roland no longer hides, and goes to the deepest part of Mariajoy generously. That's it. Wearing a white training suit and holding the first generation of ghosts, the samurai veteran star blocked in front of Luo Lin. There are no superfluous words. Swish. Swish. The Black Saber Autumn Kill and the Supreme Great Swordsman's first generation Guido staggered out. Poof. A bone-deep wound appeared on Roland's shoulder. You can't do it, old guy. Roland retracted his knife and went straight forward. In the next second, the samurai Lao Xing's right arm with the knife was cut off at the root, and the blood fountain gushed out, as if he didn't want money. Another 20 minutes. Broke through the blockade of the other 4 Gorosei, 5 elders, dragged his bruised body to the deepest part of Mariajoy, among the flowers. It's your turn next. Roland pointed straight at I am. Mad. Yimu looked indifferent. At this moment. As Mariajoy's alarm sounded, the Marine headquarters directly below was also in chaos. Sengoku and Rear Admiral Crane quickly found Garp. Where's Roland? Asked Rear Admiral Crane. That guy, I don't know what medicine I took wrong. I just followed a group of people from the medical team to say that I went to check on my body. Isn't it strange? He obviously brags about his immortality the most on weekdays. Garp didn't realize the seriousness of the problem. Garp, I ask you about the others. Which direction are you going? The Rear Admiral Crane almost roared. That, over there. Garp, who was startled, pointed in the direction Roland had left, and then quickly followed. 10 minutes later. They found the underground research base and saw the piece of meat in the room. Mariajoy. Rear Admiral murmured, guessing what Roland was thinking at the time, and ran away without looking back. Sengoku, what's wrong with Suru? And here. Garp, did that guy Roland say anything to you at the end? Sengoku was also anxious, and he guessed part of it. Roran, he finally, seems to want me to say something for Suru. Sorry. Garp was stunned. How can your brain react so slowly? Sengoku sighed heavily, hurriedly following the steps of Rear Admiral Crane. 10 minutes later, Rear Admiral Crane, Sengoku, Zephyr, Garp and a group of Marine executives boarded the Red Soil continent. At this moment, there was a loud bang with a boom. Is a vast coercion different from conqueror hockey between heaven and earth? It was like the whole world. Next second, a blood-colored beam of light blazed out from the deepest part of Mariajoy, to the end of the world. Click. Looking at the night sky, the beam of light that traverses the whole world, Rear Admiral Crane slumped on the ground, unconsciously, tears overflowing his pretty face. Really, not seeing you again. Great Fairway, the Kingdom of Alabasta. The capital, the Royal Palace of Albana. Hey, Ikalem, look, it's a shooting star. Said the young Prince Cobra excitedly. Boom. Peas. After the 6 chapters of the prequel are written, the background of some stories is roughly explained. It is a little long, and it is still the finished product after deleting many details. Otherwise, 20 chapters can be written for the Battle of the Island of God of Light. I hope that the readers who think it's okay to see here can don't hesitate to spend the flowers and tickets in their hands, and hit me as much as you like. Closer to home, the next is the real beginning of the story. After the experience of the book that was killed, the next plot will be more compact and exciting. Finally, I begged for a wave of free flowers and tickets in everyone's hands. If there are rewards and reminders, it would be even better, hee. Chapter 736 Years later I was dug out by Robin open black lens bracket 7 more close black lens bracket. The Great Root of Santin, the Kingdom of Alabasta. Here is one of the greatest superpowers on the Great Route and even in the entire world. It is also one of the few countries in the world with a history of 800 years or more. The scorching sun was scorching hot, and a fiery red sun hung high in the sky, releasing endless light and heat, reflecting on this golden sand sea. A huge gray-brown sea turtle was carrying a gorgeous carriage and ran under the scorching sun. The speed is very different from the turtle speed in the world's perception. One of the 20 kings who created the world government 800 years ago, King Nefertari of Alabasta, did not choose to move into the Holy Land to become a world noble, but chose to stick to this homeland. According to the currently known information, perhaps before the fall of the mysterious giant country and the establishment of the world government, this king of Alabasta learned a certain truth. Finally gave up the prominent status of the world nobles, and even kept the world government on this land to protect the legendary ancient weapons for generations. The historical text that recorded the location of the super battleship Hades, is this an atonement or? In the gorgeous carriage on the back of the giant tortoise, there is a woman's pleasant whisper. This is a tall, slender and graceful royal sister type beautiful girl. He was wearing a vest with very little fabric, a pair of hot pants, a snow-white shade coat, and an equally broad white hat. She is Nico Robin, the only survivor of O'Hara, the island of scholars, and the only archaeologist in the world who has mastered the interpretation of historical texts. The vice president and supreme commander of the Great Airways secret crime company Baroque Works, codenamed Miss All Sunday. More than 5 years ago, Nicole Robin accepted an invitation from the president of Baroque Works to come to Alabasta from West Blue to investigate some huge secret hidden in this country. After more than 4 years of exploration, she has confirmed that the secret of this country is the historical text that records the location of the ancient weapon Pluto. Just for the location of the historical text, even Nico Robin can't be sure, and can only speculate and find it based on some sporadic records in the history books. About 2 hours later, the giant sea turtle bench stopped in a boulder area north of Alabasta. It's hard work, just wait here. Robin jumped down, patted Binky's huge head, and then walked to the depths of this boulder area without looking back. According to the information Robin found from the few remaining historical books, hundreds of years ago, this was the second capital of the Alabasta Kingdom, and its prosperity was second only to the capital Albana. And the cause of the city's demise is nothing new, just an old-fashioned rebellion. The turmoil that occurred about 500 years ago completely razed the city to the ground. Even the indigenous people of Alabasta have long forgotten it. However, Robin, who is particularly fond of history, turned it over from the corner of the history book. Have it. After half an hour of groping, the tall and slender royal sister's eyes lit up. She let out a coquettish cry, and her pretty face couldn't hide her surprise. The history books are right, the underground palace does exist, but I hope this underground palace will not be buried in the earthquake 40 years ago. Robin said to himself. Who has read Alabasta's 800-year history from top to bottom, certainly will not miss an earthquake that occurred in this country 40 years ago, the source of which is here. Walking through a long and narrow underground palace corridor, the front is suddenly bright. The situation in the underground palace was better than Robin expected. Although there are broken pillars everywhere, there is no whole landslide. Dazzling. Robin's slender hands are crossed in front of him in the shape of petals. Paramesha flower fruit ability activates. A rain of petals floated out of thin air in the dark underground palace. Immediately afterwards, each petal turned into a white slender hand and hung everywhere, and each of the palms of the white palms had an eye. With the help of the flower of hand and eye, which has the ability to flower and fruit, Robin has seen the entire underground palace in a very short period of time. It seems that the historical text that records Hades is not here either. Robin whispered to himself, and his pretty face was not without regrets. Call. Wind sound, suddenly came from the closed underground space. With many eyes and ears, Robin, who has perfect detection ability, will naturally not be able to detect it. 3 minutes later, Robin confirmed the source of the wind noise, and came to a cracked stone wall with a torch. The mottled stone walls are covered with large and small cracks, as if they will collapse at any time. Through some of the gaps above, Robin can clearly feel that there is still space behind the wall. Dazzling. Robin, who had confirmed this, had a flash of excitement on his face. To repeat the trick, he had to use his extended eyes to investigate the situation behind the wall. However, this time, before her flower eyes took shape, an inexplicable fluctuation came, which made her groan. After a long time, Robin, who confirmed that there is no shortcut, used his housekeeping skills as an archaeologist. The tall and slender royal sister started digging the ground with a pickaxe in her right hand and a shovel in the left. The crumbling earth wall collapsed in a short time under the excavation of professionals, stirring up the sky. Cough cough. Robin squinted and coughed through the dusty ground to the space behind the wall. After seeing the scene of the space behind the wall, Rao-shi, the calm royal sister Nico Robin, who has always been calm, could not help but widen her beautiful eyes in shock, her pretty face full of inconceivable. The dust has settled. The huge cube that appeared in Robin's sight was not the historical text she was thinking about, but a person. Be precise, a person who was imprisoned in an inexplicable cube. I dug up a person, Robin muttered absent-mindedly. Chapter 8 The Man Who Made Countless Heroes Collapse Open black lens bracket 8 More flowers evaluation close black lens bracket. My name is Luo Lin, and I am a traveler. In the mighty army of transmigrators, I may not be the strongest, but I am definitely the most volatile. This is Luo Lin's pertinent summary of the first half of his life. Luo Lin, who died unexpectedly because of Tailong in his previous life, passed through after his death. Travel to the world of two-dimensional pirates that I was obsessed with. To be precise, it was the pirate world in the main storyline 46 years ago. As a senior Haimi, Luo Lin is naturally aware of the dangers in the world of pirates. Although this place is not comparable to the fantasy world, all kinds of strange devil fruit abilities, vicious pirates and evil nobles are also fatal. Wave Death, was going to develop silently as a jungler, but the system didn't allow it. As a qualified traverser, how can you not have a system by your side? And what Luo Lin is bound to is a system called, become a god if you die. Want to understand the true meaning of life? Want to be the strongest in the world? Want to go to a world outside that world? Do you want to go completely beyond the 3 realms and not in the 5 elements? Want to be a god? If you want to, then go to die. The God when you die system helps you become a god after death. As long as you die, you can become an all-knowing and almighty god. The above is the speech at the beginning of the system's awakening. That guy is as impassioned as a professional MLM boss. At that time, after listening to the introduction of the system, Luo Lin's expression changed from ignorance to contempt and finally flipped the table. Hollow square. God, he will become a god system when he dies. I just died once, I just made up my mind not to die, and you want me to die again. Can you become an all-knowing and almighty god when you die? This is really too cheesy. Who the hell knows if this is true? If it were so easy, how could the geniuses in the novel who have worked so hard to become gods would be embarrassed? Reliving once. Roland, never die. At that time, Roland eliminated the option of suicide attempt. Regardless of the system's nonsense, Luo Lin began to prepare for exercise, and walked along the coastline to see if he could be lucky enough to pick up an ordered devil fruit. But it backfired. Even if Roland had already made up his mind to live in this cruel world of pirates, the reality was always unsatisfactory. 3 days after the crossing, although Luo Lin didn't pick up the devil fruit, he encountered a devil, a group of uncivilized savages. It looks like the skin is tender and the sweet and delicious Luo Lin is naturally served on the grill as a sacrifice. The fire was raging. Just when Roland lamented that his new life was over before it even started, he was surprised to find that he was not dead. The high temperature of the raging fire made every cell in his body seem to be burning, but he did not die. Not only did it not die, but it even developed resistance to flames and high temperatures. When the rope tied him broke, Roland jumped directly on the fire. A dance of sparks and lightning immediately frightened a group of primitive savages with a big mouth and bowed their heads, treating Luo Lin as a god. After this experience, Luo Lin was somewhat convinced that Naruto's subsystem said that if he died, he would become a god. If others want to become a god, first of all, they must live, and they must fight to the death to climb up. Once they die, everything will be over. Has the system of becoming a god if you die, as on the contrary, trying to break through the limit of living. It is not easy to live, to become a god. Similarly, Roland's desire to die doesn't seem so simple. Thinking of this, the soul of death that was finally suppressed in Luo Lin's heart began to be restless again. After a day and night of inner struggle, the decisive and fragrant Luo Lin plucked up the courage to start his first suicide attempt. With the rough stone blade of a savage, cut your own throat. After only a few seconds of blank consciousness, Roland resurrected. The ferocious wound on the neck was completely healed, and the vitality was even greater than before. Only the stone blade and the warm blood sprayed on the ground proved that Roland had indeed committed suicide once before. The experience of the first failed suicide attempt made Luo Lin completely believe in the nonsense of the system, which started his life of becoming a god, established the title of the King of Death in his new world, and buried himself in the first wave of the sea. Foreshadowing. It even caused the tyrants in the sea to hide their faces and collapse. One Piece King of Pirates Roger, Hades Rayleigh, Marine Hero Garp, the resourceful General Sengoku, after 4 Emperors Whitebeard, Big Mom and Kaido of the Beasts as well as Ocean Overlord Rocks and even King of the World I Am. No one is spared. Chapter 9 The response of the emperors who ruled the sea. Open black lens bracket 9 more asking for votes close black lens bracket. The dark underground palace was dead silent. The torch in the hand of Nico Robin, the beauty of the royal sister, has long been extinguished. However, this underground palace is not completely dark. A perfect cube made of unknown material is embedded on the rock wall, exuding a ray of light like ice, becoming the only one here. In the center of that perfect cube, there was a young man, a man whose appearance could be called handsome under Robin's high standards. Even when Robin's eyes fell on him for the first time, he couldn't look away. Call. Nico Robin took continuous deep breaths to calm down the turbulent psychological fluctuations. The cube behind the wall is not a historical text, but a person, who does not know whether to live or die, so we can call it a person. A ton of shocks to her soft heart. Even if he was as calm as Robin, at this moment he was shocked by this extremely abnormal scene and was speechless. Ruined underground palace. The royal beauty Nico Robin outside was motionless. Roland inside couldn't move if he wanted to. Time passed minute by minute in a dead silence. I don't know how long has passed. Click. A footstep sounded from the silent underground palace. Now you should retreat first, and you must not act rashly until you find out the identity of the person inside. Robin warned himself sternly in his heart. However, after thinking about it, Robin's body involuntarily stepped forward, approaching the perfect cubic 3-foot range. Stop, Nicole Robin, this is an untouchable taboo. You may die, and you still have O'Hara's mission on your back. Robin's reason roared in his heart. However, the right hand holding the pick and hoe was raised rationally, and then the heavy hoe fell on the perfect cube. In this second, the whole world was silent. Click. A soft sound. Countless cracks appeared on the surface of the cube, emitting a ray of light. In the end, it completely collapsed with a bang sound, turning into countless scattered energy photons. A faint blood-colored halo spread out, passing Robin in front of him, and spreading infinitely in all directions until the end of the world. At this moment, the whole world throbbed. The deepest part of the holy Maria joy, among the flowers. A certain being sitting high on the void throne suddenly widened his falcon-like eyes, and the light in his eyes skyrocketed, making the world change. Is it an illusion? After a long time, the Lord of the world on the throne made a suspicious sound and returned to peace. Marine Headquarters Marineford, Marshal's office. Of Marshal Sengoku, who was rushing to process the official document, snapped. Marine hero Garp, who was sitting on a chair with bold and grandiose picking his nose, suddenly stopped. The same time as Garp and Sengoku, Marine's Chief Staff Officer Suru Vice Admiral, who seemed to be several decades younger than them, was uneasy for no reason. Garp, Sengoku, what's wrong with you? Suru Vice Admiral, a graceful woman in her 30s, frowned. No. Marshal Sengoku shook his head. It's nothing, it's just that I suddenly miss the old days. The marine hero Garp, who has always been nerve-wracking, was rarely sentimental at this moment. The New World, a peaceful island called the Sphinx. Dad, what's the matter? This expression suddenly appeared. The middle-aged man with a golden pineapple head and glasses opened his mouth in confusion. Kala la la la, nothing is nothing, just suddenly remembered some unpleasant memories. The world's strongest man with a long and narrow crescent beard laughed. In the New World, Big Mom Charlotte Linlin, the fourth Emperor of Totland of Nations, dropped a piece of cake, showing disgust on his face, so frightened that all the ministers, cadres, and generals who attended the afternoon tea were all pale. King Wanokuni, Kaido of the beasts, the strongest creature in the sea, land and air, cried without warning. Far away in the unknown place of the world, the red-haired Shanks looking for the last island Laugh-Tail looked up at the sky, so the violent storm in the sky subsided. When the faint and invisible circle of light passed by, these powerhouses who were at the top of the sea and stood at the top of the world sent out their own responses, one after another. Alabasta's northern subterranean palace is at the center of all fluctuations. The perfect cubic shatter embedded in the rock wall. The youth in the cube slowly fell, like a god in the dust, so dazzling that it was impossible to look directly. After a moment or a long time, the young man's eyelashes trembled slightly, and the corners of his mouth also twitched. This sleep, it's been a long sleep. In 36 years, Luo Lin spoke for the first time, and his voice was slightly hoarse. Chapter 10 Former Marine Hero Open Black Lens Bracket 10 More Flowers Evaluation Close Black Lens Bracket. It's been 36 years. I've slept for a long time. Roland, who escaped from the cube's lock, had a hoarse voice, and Isho, mocking himself, shook his head slightly. Over the past 40 years in the blink of an eye, looking back on the past, I can't help but feel endless emotions. I still remember the strange days when I first came to the pirate world 46 years ago and tried various methods of death on the island of the beginning. Most people's suicide methods are pediatrics. Luo Lin jumped in the sea of fire, bathed in boiling water, and even took a bath in lava to sleep. After leaving the original Savage Island, Roland's path to death has escalated. Luo Lin once jumped down from the Sky Island above 10,000 meters and smashed an island. Fishman Island in the 10,000-meter deep sea without any protective equipment. All kinds of methods of death are terrifying. The so-called Suicide King in this era, the four emperors, Kaido of the beasts, are all left by the senior Luo Lin. And compared to Kaido's suicidal show, which is not known to be true or false, Luo Lin is playing the real thing. In addition to 1,000 ways to write a book and die, Luo Lin also encountered countless sea heroes worth remembering along the way. Galdie Roger and the pirates who want to be the freest person on the sea, Luo Lin once singled out. Patrick Redfield, Lonely Red Earl, with whom Roland once walked. 40 years ago, the Rocks Pirates, the master of the sea, Luo Lin once collapsed many of the monsters. And the brothers from 10 years of marine life and a certain girl who loves to preach to him. I haven't heard her lectures in 36 years, and I still miss her now. Luo Lin rubbed his chin and muttered to himself hoarsely. ... At this moment, Marineford, the headquarters of Marine, thousands of miles away, the Marshal's office is also full of laughter and laughter. Marshal Sengoku and Mr. Garp are in a really good mood today, so I'll report back later. The green-haired Commodore Brittany listened to the loud laughter in the room and decided not to spoil the atmosphere. Ha ha ha, Garp, I still remember the battle between you and that guy Roland. You two ate for 3 days and 3 nights, and the rations of thousands of soldiers on the warship were empty. Zephyr was I'm so pissed off by you guys. Sengoku laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Marshal's office, Marine's legendary hero Garp thumped the table and laughed. Thinking of the past, tears of laughter were all over the place. And the time we blocked Roger's expression when he saw that guy, you remember, it's like constipation, it made me laugh to death. Garp laughed. Sighed, Marine's Chief Staff Officer Suru Vice Admiral always looks graceful and beautiful. It's just that the blush and smile on his pretty face couldn't be concealed. The laughter in the Marshal's office continued. And 36 years ago, our final battle with the Rocks pirates on the Island of Gods. Speaking of which, Garp's voice gradually became lower and his smile turned into memory. If the guy who wasn't afraid of death resisted most of the Rocks pirates' firepower that time, our losses would have more than doubled, Sengoku said. That's right, if he hadn't blocked Rock's strongest blow for me and Roger in the end, I might have long ago. That guy was the biggest contributor to that war, he was the real hero, but the government, and Tenryubito's gang of turtle grandchildren. The expression on Garp's face gradually became indignant. Enough, Garp, don't say more. Suru Vice Admiral, who still had the same face, closed his eyes, his pretty face flashed a painful color, and he said softly. The temperature in the office dropped because of the frost on Suru Vice Admiral's pretty face. For the Mariajoy rebellion incident 36 years ago, the anger, pain and sadness in Crane's heart were far greater than Garp's. Because of that guy, Roland is her. Okay, alright, let's stop chatting. Garp, if you're really bored, go for a walk outside and teach recruit by the way. Sengoku spoke at the right time, soothing the almost frozen atmosphere in the room. Okay, then I'll go for a walk for 2 laps to catch my breath. Garp nodded after suffocating. At the same time, in the underground palace in the northern area of Alabasta, Luo Lin, who had regained his freedom after many years, showed a sincere smile on his face. Garp, Sengoku, Zephyr, and Suru, what a wonderful time. If I can, I really want to go back to the sea to chase that bastard Roger. Roland murmured softly. Well, by the way, now is not the time to think about that. The next moment, Luo Lin patted his head and turned to look at Robin who had dug him out of the seal, with a terrified expression on his face. Little Robin, thanks to you, if you hadn't dug me out, I'm afraid it would take at least 10 years to get out of this hellish place. Roland first thanked Robin with a smile, alleviating Robin's inner vigilance, and then stuck out a big hand. What do you want to do? Aware of Roland's intentions, Robin, who relaxed a little, stepped back again and again with vigilance, and Maymew stared at Roland. Are you a human or a ghost? Why do you know my name? What is that cube? Why are you locked in? What have you been saying since just now? Is it some kind of magic spell? Robin's inner curiosity and incomprehension turned into questions like a machine gun. The next moment, when he realized the tattered uniform on Roland's body, the shock and fear on Robin's face became even more intense. Are you Marine Vice Admiral? Is everything here a trap set by your Marines? To catch me? Robin panicked completely, so that his usual calm thinking was confused. Little Robin, don't panic, this old man has not been a Marine for many years. Luo Lin helplessly spread his hands. And compared to these problems, you have a more urgent matter to solve right now. What's the matter? Robin asked. You're about to die, Roland said seriously. Robin, oh. Chapter 11 Immortal Blood. Dad, open black lens bracket 1/5 asking for a flower ticket close black lens bracket. Little Robin, you have a more pressing matter to deal with now. What's the matter? You're dying. Robin. Looking at Luo Lin's serious narration without any hypocrisy at all, Nico Robin, the always calm black-bellied royal sister, suddenly became confused. The next second, Robin's wheat-colored pretty face turned pale without warning. From the moment he dug out Roland, all Robin's attention was firmly locked on him. As for the stiffness and coldness of her body, she should have it because she was too nervous. However, she only reacted when she heard Roland say she was about to die. What's the matter? My body, why doesn't feel so cold? I seem to see my mother. And Dr. Kuroba, everyone from O'Hara. I really want to. Dead. Robin's beautiful eyes lost their vigor and gradually slackened, and his body was even weaker, and he fell backward involuntarily. However, before her delicate body fell, a pair of fiery and powerful arms wrapped around her waist. At the same time, a very penetrating voice echoed deep in her soul. Don't worry, little girl Robin, you won't die with me here. Roland's calm and firm voice made Robin, who had given up all hope, rekindle hope for life. Tick-tock. Like drops of water falling. With only the last trace of consciousness left, Robin felt a special warm current flowing into her mouth, exuding some kind of warm power spreading to her limbs. What is this? The salty, red, is it blood? This was Robin's last consciousness before he passed out. The next second, Robin's head tilted and he passed out completely. However, the blood flowing from Luo Lin's wrist continued to enter Robin's body, washing away the power of the King of Heaven that remained in her body and awakening vitality. More than 40 years ago, Luo Lin, who had confirmed that he could never die, was helpless, thinking that he could only wait for him to die of old age silently. Buff of immortality, which once made Luo Lin very helpless. However, this buff played a huge role in the later marine career. The immortal Luo Lin, if in the fantasy world, is a walking humanoid elixir. Blood, flowing in his body is the best panacea. Even a drop of blood in his body can last a second, for a seriously wounded and dying person, even a huge giant. Roland once used his own blood to save a seriously injured giant, recruit. That giant recruit's name is Saul, and it's a D. As long as the amount is large enough, it can even live and die. Even if Robin was injured by the mighty power of the Heavenly King at the moment, Luo Lin was confident to restore her to the original state. In any case, the other party did this because they dug him out. Roland couldn't let it go. Even if it wasn't the Robin that Roland knew, if it were any other passerby, Roland would choose to save people without hesitation. The world government can do things like revenge, cross the river and demolish the bridge, but Luo Lin will not do it anyway. In the dark underground palace, there was silence. Time seems to have lost its meaning here, only the constant ticking sound is continuously counting. I don't know how many days have passed, maybe several days and nights. At a certain moment, the ticking in the dark underground palace stopped. 10 minutes later, a bright fire erupted in the dark underground palace. Pieces of neat cubes of meat were put on clean sticks, making a sizzling sound as the flames rose and fell. The aroma of grilled meat permeates. Vivi on the mat not far away moved, and saliva came out of her mouth unconsciously. Little girl, if you wake up, get up. You've been lying down for 3 days. Proper exercise is better for your body's recovery. Roland turned his back to Robin, fiddling with the barbecue on the fire, and said without looking back. Even if he doesn't need to look and observe with his eyes, Roland can know from the changes in his breath and other ways that the little girl Robin has woken up. Good tilde. Good tilde. Although Robin woke up from a coma, he still wanted to pretend to be asleep, but his body responded honestly. She is hungry, very hungry. Even when she was a child at her uncle's house without food for 3 days or 2, or wandering around for 20 years, she had never been so hungry. The long eyelashes trembled slightly, and Robin slowly opened a pair of beautiful eyes. The few days when she was in a coma and on the verge of death was the most magical experience in her 28 years of life. Born from death. She had seen a skeleton reaper with a scythe coming towards her to take her life. Her body stiffened with fear, and she slumped on the ground, unable to move. At that time, a prince riding a white horse. No, the white horse may just be imagining, but someone really stood in front of her, slashed the skeleton death with a knife, and reached out to her. She once stood before an abyss. Across the abyss stood many people she knew well. There are her mother, the kind Dr. Kuroba, and many people who have given her warmth to her young. They are waving to her. Robin is delighted. Without hesitation, he stepped into the abyss and fell. However, at that time, the person who once split the god of death appeared again, and a big warm hand pulled her back from the abyss called death, telling her that now is not the time to go there. There are all kinds of other magical experiences that Robin himself can't remember clearly. The only thing that impressed her the most was the figure that reassured her every time she was in danger. It was a feeling she had never had since she was a child. First time being cared for. Save her again and again. Like a brother, no. More like a father. Robin unconsciously gave birth to this strange idea. A pair of beautiful eyes stared at Roland. Looking at this back, she didn't seem to be a 28-year-old mature royal sister, but an 8-year-old girl. A little girl following her brother. Or her father's side. Dad. Robin's red lips parted slightly, and he whispered unconsciously. Chapter 12. Are you an era lamp god? Dad. Robin stared at Luo Lin's back with a pair of narrow and beautiful eyes, and his mind was full of thoughts. Recalling the past, Robin's strong heart suddenly burst into a wonderful emotion. So, Dad, 2 words she had never said since she was born, blurted out unconsciously. The sound is very light, like a mosquito. But it was very clear in this quiet underground palace where the needles could be heard. It is even more impossible to hide from an observation hockey expert like Roland. Then. Roland. Luo Lin was speechless for a while about his sudden, like being a father. Roland was not surprised that Robin would have an intimacy with him, a stranger full of mystery and unknown. Because people who have received his blood treatment in the past will have some wonderful deviations in their emotions. For the specific causes of this phenomenon, Luo Lin himself could not explain clearly. It has to be largely attributed to the blood reaction. In a sense, the blood in Roland's body remained, not dead, for a period of time after leaving his body. It can even be regarded as a continuation of his life. When this undead blood enters the body of others and is repaired and treated, it will strongly overwhelm the blood of the injured person, thereby causing such emotional deviations. Once, even a hero like One Piece, King of Pirates Roger, after being baptized by his immortal blood, in an accident, turned into Roland's little fanboy, and shocked the Roger group. Eyeballs and jaws with Marine Garp et al. Of course, this situation is not permanent. After a period of time, when the immortality in the blood is almost consumed, it will slowly recover. This is also one of the important reasons why Roger didn't like Luo Lin at first, and even had a headache just thinking about it. Therefore, Luo Lin was not too surprised by Robin's cordial gaze at the moment. It's just that the sound of Dad was too surprise. Perhaps it was because the little girl Robin had too much blood transfusion this time, Luo Lin secretly guessed. Pop. In the bright fire, there was a slight explosion. Goo tilde 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 tilde. What followed was an even longer stomach growl, pulling Robin back from the rosy fantasy back to reality. The pretty face even flew up to a few pretty red clouds because of this. If you're hungry, don't hold back. Come and eat together. This is the authentic old turtle meat that has lived for 100 years. It is a great supplement. Luo Lin said. Robin hummed softly. Immediately after that, he suddenly seemed to realize something, and his beautiful eyes suddenly widened. Turtle meat, Binky. Robin thought of his own means of transportation at Baroque Works. For Baroque Works, a criminal company, Robin disliked everything from top to bottom. Only Robin likes the waterway that carries her on the back of the Alabasta, exploring the waterways to pick up the turtle bench. More than 5 years and nearly 6 years, but also have some feelings. However, at this moment, no matter how hungry Robin is, he still has no appetite. The intimacy in the eyes looking at Luo Lin was even lessened. Roland, who read Robin's inner thoughts. Little Robin, I didn't touch your tortoise, it's just a bastard. I caught it from the underground river below. Your tortoise meat is too old, it doesn't taste good at first glance, Rollins explained. Now it was Robin's turn to be speechless. Dare to love if Binky's meat is a little more tender, it's really gone. But since it was a misunderstanding, it will be fine after it is resolved at this moment. So, Robin's gaze towards Luo Lin returned to the way his daughter looked at her father, full of admiration. Thank you. Robin ate the barbecue elegantly and thanked softly. No, you were seriously injured because you dug me. It's right for me to save you. Luo Lin said. Why don't I thank you? If it wasn't for you, little girl, I would have at least 10 years to get out of that damn place. Another 10 years would be too late. Now is the right time. Luo Lin opened his mouth faintly, his eyes gradually deepening, as unfathomable as a black hole. 10 years. A lot can happen in 10 years. If it was another 10 years later, even if Luo Lin got out of trouble, it would be of little significance. Because this world's default, Joy Boy, is enough to solve everything. The world government is overthrown, I Am the Bastard is gone, and even those old friends of Marine will perish in that unknowable war, never to be seen again. At that time, even if Luo Lin gets out of trouble, what's the point of it? There is no object for revenge. I don't even have any friends who drink with me. Always alone, what is the difference from these 36 years? But fate never made such a joke to him. Here comes Robin. He was dug out 10 years in advance. So everything is still in time. The old people are still there. The enemies are also alive. I am back. Everything will be different. Just when Robin was startled by Roland's sudden silence, and when he got closer and wanted to observe carefully, Roland turned his head without warning. What's wrong? Roland asked. At this moment, the distance between him and her was less than 1 centimeter. Robin could even clearly feel Roland's scorching masculine breath. No, it's nothing, I want to help wipe your face dirty. Robin's eyes slightly dodged, and he sat back in his seat. Right, Roland said again. Robin sat up subconsciously, and Mibe listened straight. You don't have to be nervous, little girl Robin. In view of the fact that you dug me out in advance, I decided to give you something in return. From now on, you can make 3 wishes to me, Luo Lin said seriously. Hearing this, Robin suddenly widened a pair of beautiful eyes again and spoke subconsciously. You are Era Dang. No, you are Era Dang. Also, are you the Dang God? ... Chapter 13 Observation Hockey that reads people's hearts. Are you a lamp god? When Robin said that she could make 3 wishes, Robin, who was immersed in the character of an 8-year-old girl, immediately thought of a certain fairy tale she had read in a book. Story. Subconsciously, she showed an expression of surprise and hope, and her delicate and pretty face came closer to Luo Lin again. Roland. This doesn't seem right. Shouldn't the character of Robin's little girl be a little dark in her calmness? How could he see such a silly little girl? The Robin no. Roland looked complicated. Seeing the complicated expression on Roland's face up close, Robin seemed to see what Roland was thinking, and Isho, who who was suddenly embarrassed, slowly sat back to his seat. "Sorry, I'm still a little messy now," Robin whispered embarrassedly. "It's okay." Roland continued to eat barbecue calmly. "About your 3 wishes, you can think about it slowly and tell me when you're done." "Any wish is fine." "Really anything?" Robin asked in a conditioned reflex. Roland had a thoughtful look on his face. "Some things, such as making me commit suicide, I really can't do it, maybe later." No, I won't." Before Roland could finish speaking, Robin waved his hand hurriedly, saying that he would never make such an outrageous wish. Of course, what Robin doesn't know is that what Roland said can't be done is really impossible, not unwilling. After all, decades ago, Luo Lin had already attempted no less than 1,000 suicide attempts. "My wish." Robin was eating barbecue, but he couldn't help but start thinking. "I stayed in Alabasta and spent 6 years in that sand crocodile organization, just for the absolute secret hidden in this country, or try." "Yes." Before Robin could finish thinking, Luo Lin, who had been paying attention to her inner thoughts, nodded first. Robin tilted his head, looking cute and puzzled. "Sister Yu is cute and deadly. You want to know the historical text guarded by the Alabasta royal family for generations, which records where the ancient weapon Pluto is located, right? I can take you to see it as your first wish." Roland seriously. Robin became more and more confused. "Obviously I don't have anything." Robin was stunned. Because she finally realized what was wrong. Not just a matter of this article about Alabasta history. And earlier. It's been like this several times. Obviously she hadn't said anything yet, but Luo Lin was ready to guess her inner thoughts and took over. "What on earth is it? This strange existence, is it human? Or the lamp god? Even the devil?" "Little girl, I'm not a lamp god, let alone a devil. As you can see, I used to be just an ordinary Marine." Roland pointed to the dimly recognizable Marine Vice Admiral uniform on his body. "The reason I can hear your heart is only because of Haki's power." Haki. Robin was puzzled and didn't know much about the so-called Haki. "That's right, it's Haki, observation Haki enough to read people's hearts. Little girl, do you want to learn? I'll teach you as your second wish." Roland nodded with an inscrutable expression nod. Rollins doesn't like to owe people. Since it was decided to give Robin the 3 wishes as a reward, it is natural to complete it as soon as possible. Observation Haki can strongly feel the power of the opponent's voice. Once this power is increased, it can extract the position and number of enemies outside the field of vision, as well as the actions the opponent will take in the next moment, reaching the top level and even predicting the future. In addition to this, there are some gifted people who can naturally awaken observation Haki, and even have some rare features, such as reading people's hearts and even affecting human figures. In addition to observation Haki, there is also armament. In the next hour, Luo Lin told Robin, who had never seen the world, about the knowledge of the 3-color Haki in detail. As one of the strongest in the last era, Roland's accomplishments on Haki are naturally extraordinary. 10 years of confrontation and training with the ocean's top masters, such as Rox, Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Charlotte Linlin, Roger Pirates, and Marine, Scarp, Sengoku, etc., makes Luolin's 3-color Haki as strong as soaring like a rocket. Observation Haki that can read people's hearts, that's another story. ... Observation Haki, armament, and Conqueror's Haki. Robin murmured softly. Haki from the mouth of Luo Lin, the old senior. The impact on Robin was huge and subversive. In West Blue for more than 10 years, plus 6 years in the Great Route, this is the first time she has learned that there is a powerful force named Haki in the world. Observation Haki is suitable for perception. If you cultivate to the top level, you can even see a corner of the future and read people's hearts. The Rear Admiral from the West Blue Marine branch should have been able to follow me for so long with the power of ordinary observation Haki. Robin drew inferences and thought of the dangerous experience of being nearly caught by Marine at West Blue a few years ago. Armament hockey can also capture the body of the Logia-capable person while enhancing his strength. If I can learn it, then I will have another way to deal with Crocodile in the future. Robin thought to himself. Was invited by Baroque Works to come to Alabasta 6 years ago, with a purpose of his own. Her relationship with Crocodile has never been more than a duplicitous partnership. She was never really loyal to Crocodile. The same way, Crocodile was only interested in her translation ability. Found the piece of historical text that Alabasta was hiding was when they ripped their faces. It is necessary to prepare early for this. Through 2 years of observation, Robin has known a weakness of the Logia rustling fruit ability Crocodile, water. Armament hockey that Rollins showed off earlier. Only she could learn armament. Combine it with your own flower and fruit ability, and cover armament on the arm created by the ability, then even if you face Logia like Crocodile. Robin was a little moved. Chapter 14 The smell of Robin open black lens bracket 4/5 ask for votes close black lens bracket. Observation hockey for perception. Armament that even Logia-capable people can catch, and the legendary Conqueror hockey that only 1 in a million awakens. Hockey, Roland, that there is such a magical power in the world. Just an instant, she thought of many applications of hockey, especially armament hockey's increase in her own strength. Armament hockey was supplemented to your flower and fruit abilities. Even in the face of a Logia-capable person like Crocodile, he can sack him directly across hundreds of meters. Even in the face of the more terrifying Marine Admiral, Nightmare Kuzan in her heart. She will no longer be a little sheep without resistance and let it be slaughtered. How's it going, little girl Robin? I have also dabbled in swordsmanship. If you want, I can even teach you how to use the sword. As long as you train your own abilities and hockey strong enough, you can even achieve 1,000 swords in an instant. Even that stinky boy Kuzan has to run away, Roland said. In Marine, Luo Lin found Borsalino, a wealthy boy, on an island in the New World. After some guidance, he took the boat and started recruiting training with the Monkey D Dragon. Later, in a village in the first half of the Great Route, Luo Lin met a rag picker named Kuzan. Garp was also with Roland. When Rollins decided to take Kuzan on his boat, Garp was even hitting the road. Claiming that he put his son Long on your boat, this little guy belongs to me. So the little kid Kuzan got on Garp's ship ahead of time and received inhuman training. That stinky boy Kuzan still looks lazy under the influence of Garp. I just don't know if Borsalino has been taught by me, and now I don't know if he is the wretched old man. If he is, I can't kill you. And that boy Long. The revolutionary cause should have already started. Luo Lin thought in his heart, and the corner of his mouth unconsciously raised a nostalgic arc. That. Robin's voice woke Roland from his memories. Think about it. Robin nodded, then shook his head again. It's better for now. Huh. Roland Vivi raised his eyebrows, and was immediately taken aback. Young people need to have confidence in themselves. Besides, with a teacher like me teaching you, how could you not learn? Having said this, Roland paused, remembering that in the 2 years of practice in the original plot, Robin didn't seem to have learned hockey. Well, I promise I won't despise you for being stupid, Roland said seriously. Oops. Robin immediately covered his face with his hands and blushed. Can you stop reading my mind? Robin protested. Is this your second wish? Of course not. That's it. Quote. A barbecue dinner was carried out in a pleasant atmosphere. 2 hours later, the 100-pound century-old Wong and Bazai all fell into the belly of Luo Lin and Robin. Of course, even if Robin is hungry again, the bulk of it will be eaten by Roland. Full of wine and food. Contented expression on his face, Robin stroked Vivi's bulging belly with his slender hands and burped. If you're full, go wash next, not just your hands and face. Roland reminded. Huh. Robin tilted his head again cutely. The next second, Robin reacted. Not only the hands and face, but also his stomach, arms, thighs, and even others. The entire surface of the body is covered with a layer of unknown black substance, exuding a strange and subtle smell. Can't look straight. Even more unbearable. In the past, Robin always had a unique taste like flowers. It's one of the hybrid varieties of lily of the sky and lily of the fragrance, the scent of Casablanca. But now, let alone flowers. Now, because of that layer of unknown substance, the original lily fragrance of her body has been completely covered up. Robin himself had not been able to detect it before because of olfactory fatigue. Now, after being reminded by Luo Lin, this was finally discovered. So, scream. What's it called? It's all in your body, it's a normal phenomenon after baptism. Luo Lin explained. But I obviously wash every day. Robin said weakly. Mere rinsing will not wash out impurities from the body. Roland pointed to a large wooden barrel with a lid on the side. It's ready for you, I'll take a break first, and then wake me up when you're done. After saying that, Luo Lin leaned directly on the pillar behind him and closed his eyes. After a while, his even breathing sounded in the underground palace. Just after getting out of trouble, after tossing for so much time, even with Roland's monster constitution, he was really tired. On the other hand, after confirming that Roland was really asleep, Robin didn't bother anymore. Lifting the lid on the wooden barrel, a reddish heat steamed out in an instant. It was nothing to cover the lid before, and it was not until he lifted it that Robin was surprised to find that the color of the water of baptism, prepared by Roland, was as red as an agate gem. It's unusual at first glance. If it were replaced by the cautious Robin from before, he would definitely not try it easily. But now, Robin didn't have the slightest doubt. He removed his clothes without hesitation, and entered the blood-colored baptism that Roland prepared. This feeling, as expected. Robin's eyes turned red involuntarily. Chapter 15. What is it called? Call Grandpa. When the body is completely submerged in water. Water, in this bucket was such a heartbreak. Red blood of Roland is added here. During the few days when he was in a coma and dying, Robin couldn't feel anything. On several occasions, her consciousness briefly returned. She saw Roland's bleeding wrist. So she knew that the reason why she was able to survive was entirely because Luo Lin used the blood in her body to continue her life. How much blood did he bleed? Maybe it's all that's flowing in your body. At this moment, what Robin was thinking about was not why Luo Lin's blood had such a miraculous effect. All she had in her heart was a feeling of incomprehension and unspeakable emotion. Why? Obviously we are only meeting for the first time. Why do you do so much to a stranger like me? Is it worth your effort just because I dug you out? No one will know if you leave it alone. Quote. I've never believed in good things for no reason in the world, but what the hell is going on this time? Robin was confused, and tears unconsciously blurred her eyes. Buster called 20 years ago, as the only survivor of O'Hara, she was offered a high bounty of $79 million by the government. She also embarked on a lonely road full of thorns. Like a mouse, hiding everywhere. Betrayal is commonplace. She will not have any psychological burden if she betrays others. In this cannibal world, all she has to do with O'Hara's last hope is to live and do her best to survive. For this, she can do whatever it takes. She thought she would repeat this process all her life until she was finally arrested, imprisoned and even executed by Marine. But now, Robin emerged from the water, his fair-skinned hands clawed on the edge of the wooden barrel, and a pair of crystal-clear eyes stared at Luo Lin, who had completely fallen asleep not far away. The dim firelight illuminated Roland's slightly pale face due to excessive blood loss. It's beautiful. Robin smiled softly. Have you always been such a gentle person? Like the Saul I've met before. Vivi's expression on Robin's face darkened when she thought of Marine Vice Admiral, the giant who had taught her to never forget a smile in the past. But soon, Robin, who remembered Saul's instructions, grinned and let out a unique laugh. He. Saul, you once said that I can definitely find a partner who is willing to protect me. I think I may have found it, so that's the decision, my third wish. About an hour later. Heartbreak red, color in the barrel disappeared and was completely absorbed by Robin's body. Robin out of the water. The skin all over the body exudes an ivory white luster. After the baptism of Luo Lin's undead blood, Robin has been running around all these years, and the weak complexion that has been exposed to the sun has disappeared. The whole body is as delicate and white as a newborn baby. Robin couldn't help but be overjoyed at the changes in his body from the inside out. After all, women love beauty after all. Although the weak complexion is also unique, it still looks better now. Robin put on his clothes generously, and finally moved the lotus step lightly, crouched down beside the sleeping Roland, and carefully observed Roland's sleeping eyebrows from a close distance. For a while, I couldn't help but stare blankly. I don't know how long it took. Robin took out the clean handkerchief that he wiped his body before from his arms, trying to wipe a drop of sweat from Roland's forehead. Pop. However, the next moment, a strong hand clasped her wrist, which was very painful. At the same time, a series of intricate pictures flashed in front of Robin's eyes like a revolving lantern. Fishman Island in the 10,000-meter deep sea, a huge going clock, and a historical text on the base. What's more, there are blood-splattered fierce battles one after another, and finally a beam of light that runs through the heavens and the earth. The picture is fleeting. However, the impact on Robin's heart was unprecedented. Although the pictures were blurry and nothing could be seen clearly, Robin could still feel the majesty in them. Is this your past? I can't witness your past, but at least in the future, I want to experience it with you. Robin murmured softly. If you're done, let's go, and then go ahead and realize your first wish. Roland let go of Robin's wrist, got up and snorted, and then walked to the ground first. Soon after, Luo Lin and Robin boarded and waited outside for several days. Ba Kuro's special waterway picked up the luxury carriage on the back of Turtle Bench. Dong 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 dong. The giant amphibious sea turtle Binchy took unrestrained steps and ran rhythmically towards the direction of Alabasta, the capital of Alabasta. In the luxury carriage on the back of the amphibious sea turtle bench, Roland and Robin sat opposite each other, looking at each other silently. I've known you for so long, I don't seem to know your name yet. The sound of crashing, falling into the water sounded. When the amphibious sea turtle Binch jumped into the Sandora River, Robin remembered that he still didn't know Roland's name, so he asked aloud. Roland. Roran, where do you think you've seen this name before? Robin wondered. It may be the genealogy of your family. After all, our surname is Luo. Maybe I am still your ancestor. Roland made a rare joke that made Robin, poof, isho. Luo Lin, you look about the same age as me, but you must be much older than me, so what should I call you, brother or? Call Grandpa. Robin. Uncle, you'll have no friends like this, Robin thought. I have a lot of friends. Roland replied, and a series of names appeared in his mind in an instant. Marine veterans like Garp, Sengoku, Zephyr, and more. In addition to Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion. Roger, who was in hell, knew about it. He would definitely slap the coffin board with excitement and yell at the ghost. All right, there will be no girlfriend. Note orphaned. Robin thought to himself again, while nervously waiting for Roland's answer. This time Roland didn't answer. Robin heaved a sigh of relief. Dong 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 dong. The sea turtle, Binky, swam across the Sandora River, and continued to gallop toward the capital. The night gradually dissipated. When the first rays of dawn break through the darkness. The capital city of Albana has arrived. Chapter 16 Robin's second wish open black lens bracket 1/5 asking for votes close black lens bracket. The capital of the Kingdom of Alabasta, Albana. In the west of this prosperous city, there is a vast cemetery. This is the funeral hall. The place where the royal family members of the Alabasta royal family, the Neferutali family, have rested for generations. At dawn, two figures appeared in this seemingly messy cemetery. One male and one female. Naturally, it was Llewellyn and Robin who had traveled overnight from the north to the capital. The funeral hall, that piece of historical text, is actually hidden here. No wonder I have never been able to find it. Robin suddenly realized. On the other side, Llewellyn, who quietly knocked down the soldier guarding the tomb with Conqueror, walked towards the sea cat pedestal on the left. Sea cats are sacred creatures of Alabasta, but Uncle you. Just as Robin was about to ask Roland what he wanted to do, he saw Roland turn the sea cat pedestal in front of him with ease. Kakaka. With the click sound of the organ being activated, the underground palace opened. Seeing this scene, Robin opened his mouth into an O shape in shock. You don't even know where the underground palace of the funeral hall is. Uncle, are you really not a descendant of Alabasta's royal family? Robin thought to himself. Let's go. Roland beckoned and led the stunned Robin into the underground palace. After walking through a long and narrow corridor, through an avenue filled with beers, statues, and finally through a huge gilded gate, you will come to the deepest palace of the funeral hall. Here lies the ultimate secret that has been guarded by the royal families of the Alabasta kingdom for 800 years. A square, huge stone with a heavy historical atmosphere came into the eyes of the two of Llewellyn. For a moment, Robin's previous curiosity about Roland's identity turned into excitement. Seeing that the thing that he had been searching for 6 years and could not find finally appeared. Robin's breathing became heavier. There is no delay. Robin stepped forward in 3 or 2 steps, walked up the steps, touched the stone with a history of 800 years, and felt the mysterious call from 800 years ago. After a few minutes, Robin completed the interpretation of the historical text that he had spent 6 years and finally found with the help of the Deng Shen. The so-called 1 minute on stage and 10 years of work off stage is just like that. After learning about another amazing piece of history, Robin finally took a deep look at the historical article, then turned around and left with Llewellyn, with no nostalgia, and no need for nostalgia. Because everything about this stone tablet has been imprinted in her mind and will never disappear. The gate of the palace in the deepest part of the funeral hall was closed, the lights in the passage were still bright, and everything returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. Even the grave guard soldiers from outside would not remember that they had been in a coma. The city wall on the west side of the capital Albana, waiting for the owner to return, the turtle bench will start a wild journey again. In the carriage. Took a long time to digest history, nodded lightly and looked at Roland. Uncle, aren't you curious about the contents of that historical article? If you want to know. I know. Robin's half-sentence came to an abrupt end with Roland's, I know. Robin, who originally wanted to show off his knowledge in front of Roland, was suddenly discouraged. Thinking of Llewellyn's familiar appearance before, didn't he just see it before? But, Uncle, do you really understand the historical text? Robin looked suspicious. I don't understand. Pop. Pinch the turtle happened to pass a high and low slope. So Robin in the car suddenly fell forward, almost crashing into Llewellyn's arms. Robin rubbed the aching forehead that was pressed against Roland's fingers, and sat back in his seat with a resentful expression. When faced with the situation just now, shouldn't the reaction of the average man be to hug him? Why is it different here? Uncle, were you really Marine before? After a long time, Robin raised a topic again. Really? Then can you tell me why you left Marine? Is it also related to the historical text? Robin gossips. I don't want to say it unless you make a wish. Roland said. Then tell me what rank you probably have. Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral. Robin looked thoughtful, and secretly made up for the possible strength gap between Marine Vice Admiral and the highest combat power Admiral. Robin decided to keep a low profile when looking for a job in the future. Otherwise, in case of encountering Admiral Kuzan, they might end up in the same pot. For Robin's mistakes and unnecessary worries, Luo Lin just glanced at her like a fool, and was too lazy to explain anything. Anyway, when I meet the stinky boy Kuzan in the future, everything will be clear. It's decided, my second wish. Robin said. Say. My second wish is very difficult, Uncle. If you think it's not good after listening to it, I'll change it. Speak directly. I want to read all the historical texts in the world, filling in the blanks of 100 years of history. Robin made a bold wish. Roland pondered. What's the matter? Sure enough, it still doesn't work. Robin was nervous. No, you can. Roland nodded. Really? Robin's eyebrows gradually brightened, and then he excitedly gave Roland a big hug. Robin thought that it was because he made a wish that Luo Lin promised her to find the historical text and fill in the blank history. As everyone knows, this is what Luo Lin has to do, and with Robin by his side, he acts as a free translator. This time, Luo Lin decided to seriously play a game with the world government. Mariajoy with one knife. After all, it was disgusting that Tenryubito's national treasure would seal him if he couldn't kill him. Luo Lin didn't want to waste another 36 years for no reason. Uncle, the historical text of Alabasta has been found. Where shall we go next? Going to see the historical text under the going bell? Robin asked enthusiastically. Yes, but before that, I still have some things to do. What's the matter? Solution to the crisis this country is facing right now. Chapter 17 The Reign of Peace covering the whole country. See Circle Calendar 1520. As almost 3 months before the protagonist of the story, Straw Hat Luffy, goes to sea. In the whole of Alabasta, except for the occasional rain in the capital Albana, other cities in the country have been in drought for nearly 3 years because of the ambitions of Shichibukai Crocodile. At first, the citizens of Alabasta upheld their trust in King Cobra, the king, and could still wait for the rain to fall. However, as the drought continued, more and more citizens were dissatisfied with the fact that it rained only in the capital of the kingdom. Gradually, there were rumors that King Cobra used dancing powder without authorization to plunder the rain of other cities. Under such circumstances, there has not been a large-scale rebellion in the country, all relying on the good reputation accumulated by King Cobra in the first half of his life. However, fame always runs out. It doesn't rain all day. Rumors persist for a day. The dissatisfaction of the citizens will not dissipate for a day. Such large-scale civil wars and rebellions were inevitable. Familiar with Alabasta's situation, naturally cannot leave without doing anything, even if he is no longer marine. Solution to the conflicts in the Alabasta kingdom is actually quite simple. A heavy rain that covers the whole country will suffice. Inside the carriage, after learning what Roland was going to do next, Robin was silent. Because anyway, Alabasta's 3-year drought, as the vice president of Baroque Works, she has an unshirkable responsibility. I am not alone now. Something has to be done to make up for it. Robin thought so. Uncle, I know where Crocodile's artificial rainfall ship is. The resource reserves on board should be enough to support a heavy rain covering the whole country. Robin said. I've been waiting for you to say. Roland said calmly. Robin was stunned for a moment, then reacted immediately, knowing the meaning of Luo Lin's words. Is this a test for her? If she never thought of making amends, but offered to leave the country, how would Luo Lin see her in the future? How to treat her? Thinking of the most likely outcome, Robin couldn't help but turn pale. Fortunately, her choice this time was not wrong. Call. Robin exhaled a long breath and began to direct the turtle bench to sail in the direction of the Bakuro artificial rainfall boat. After about half a day, when the noon sun finally rose, the two came to the secret base of Bakuro on the west coast of Alabasta. Beneath the barren rock wall hides a huge harbor. In the port, there is only one ship, the main ship of Baroque works, the Gustav artificial rainfall ship. When Robin appeared in the amphibious sea turtle, the ordinary Bakuro agents who were on standby in the port were alarmed. "You are Missile Sunday." For the past 3 years, the middle-level agent responsible for artificially raining the capital Albana with this ship recognized Robin's identity as the vice president, and immediately showed a look of shock. Turning his eyes, when he saw Roland beside Robin, the intermediate agent was struck by lightning, his body froze in place, his mouth wide open. Boss, are you the boss? The president of our Baroque Works Club?" the middle-level agent shouted excitedly. So the other Bakuro agents who were present stood up straight and shouted in unison, "Hello, President." Baroque Works, a crime company secretly established by Shichibukai Crocodile, has the biggest purpose of mystery. Among them, the most mysterious thing in the work club is the identity of the president, Mr. Zero. In addition to the vice president Robin, even senior agents such as Daz Bones never knew the identity of the boss. Not to mention the little ones. Therefore, after recognizing the vice president Robin, the intermediate agents naturally made up Luo Lin's brain as their big boss. They were fortunate enough to see the president appear today and come to guide the work. What an honor. If you perform well, it is not impossible for an ordinary agent to become an intermediate agent, and an intermediate agent to become a senior agent. Everyone thought happily. So the cheers in the port became more and more enthusiastic. For the situation in front of him, Luo Lin did not expect it. But it just saves a lot of trouble. Under the instructions of President Roland, the artificial rainfall ship Gustav sailed out of the port and went north along the Sandora River to the center of the country. All the Bakuro agents were in high spirits, and they did their best to express themselves in front of the President Luo Lin. "Boss, please give instructions next." The middle-level agent's voice was loud and clear. Using all the remaining resources on the ship to artificially rain across the country. Roland said. "Received, this subordinate will treat Alba." "Ah, President, did you mean the whole country just now?" The middle-level agent with profound attainments in meteorology was dumbfounded. "I seriously doubted that my ears were hallucinating." However, the next moment, the gaze from Luo Lin scared him to fall 3 meters. "Anything else?" No, my subordinates will do it now." The meteorologist intermediate agent did not dare to be slighted again. No matter how outrageous Roland's order was, in short, it was over. After all, this is a direct order from the president. Chug chug chug. After a while, the artificial rainfall ship Gustav made a choo-choo sound, and the whole operation started. One after another, dark cumulonimbus clouds emerged from the ship's chimney mouth and rose toward the sky. It didn't take a moment to reach the size of a city. 30 minutes later, dark cumulonimbus clouds cover all the cities in Alabasta. Boom! There was thunder in the sky. Ah, ha ha ha. There were countless people on the ground shouting and laughing. Crash la la. Torrential rain poured down. So, the whole Alabasta boiled. Chapter 18 Vivi dances with Joy Sand Crocodile Fury. The 3rd year of the Alabasta drought. Water has become the most scarce resource in this country. Lack of water is enough to make one die of thirst, but it can also make a dry die, turning it into a ruined city. Aramar was the first city in Alabasta to die due to lack of water. After it, Yuba, which was once a famous oasis city in the country, is about to die out. Today, in this former oasis, only 3 or 2 ordinary families remain. On the outskirts of the city, an old man wearing a white turban relentlessly waved his hoe, trying to find the underground water source under Juba. Even if every day the hole he dug is filled up by a sandstorm that came from nowhere, he never gave up. Enough is enough, Daddy, it's useless, the future of this country is not dug by an old man like you. A determined young man with glasses and full of charisma shouted. It's not because of the persistence of our older generation, can we still count on your rebellion. Kosha, stop it, you should know how merciful King Cobra is. You were rebellious. Tuo hard-heartedly persuaded his son. Benevolence. Maybe, I always thought Lord Cobra was the best king in the world, but people always change. Kosa, the leader of the rebel army, said. In his willful way of breaking the rules, caring only about his own enjoyment, and using dancing powder without authorization to plunder everyone's reign. Shut up, you stupid son, how could Lord Cobra use dancing powder? Dodo growled angrily. Then how do you explain? Forget it, it's useless to say more, I will use my own method to hold the future in my hands. Kosha turned and left without hesitation. Dodo was unaware of his son's departure. Because at this moment, all his attention was attracted by the dark cumulonimbus cloud that was constantly spreading in the sky. Rain, it's coming. Duo laughter, fell to his knees on the ground, crossed his hands in front of his chest, and bowed respectfully to the long-lost cloud in the sky. Dad, you. Kosha, who noticed that his father was strange, turned around, and the words came to an abrupt end with the appearance of the rain cloud in his sight. Rain, is it really coming? Is father right? The leader of the rebel army, Kosha, stared blankly at the pitch-black sky, and the next moment fell to one knee, like Dodo. You must go down, don't let everyone down again. ... The capital city of Albana. Palace Hall. King Cobra leaned on the throne, his eyes full of exhaustion. For the past 3 years, the only incident of rain in Albana in the entire kingdom of the kingdom has caused great psychological pressure on Cobra. Especially after those rumors spread. Cobra was tortured and exhausted. But what else can he do? What else can be explained? He couldn't do anything until he found the real cause of the kingdom's drought. Your Majesty, the rain. The rain is coming. At this moment, the deputy captain of the Kingdom Guard, Jackal Yaka, hurried over with surprise on his face. Is it only Albana again? Why is that? The frown between King Cobra's eyebrows became deeper and deeper, as if he had aged 10 years in an instant. No, my lord. The Jackal Yaka, who has always been calm, is now dancing with excitement, like a child who sees a happy toy. Your Majesty, this time it's not just Albana, but also Juba, Aruma, Catalya. Huge cumulonimbus clouds cover the entire kingdom. What did you say? Hearing this, the previously weak King Cobra suddenly widened his eyes in shock and stumbled out of the hall. The cumulonimbus cloud that has been spreading to the end of the world, Cobra burst into tears, just like the pouring rain. ... Alabasta Canola Port, the secret base of Baroque Works. Looking at the sudden downpour of rain, the group of Bakuro agents who were on standby in the base were collectively dumbfounded. At this moment, the people who were too shocked did not find that there were 2 less people in the base, 2 intermediate agents. Look, Ikalem, did you see it? It's raining, not in Albana, it's really raining. A girl with long aqua blue hair dances happily in the heavy rain, like a rain elf. This scene is extremely beautiful. Rain or tears continued to slide down the girl's pretty face, just like this heavy rain. Hey, I see, Lord Vivi, it's really raining. It's all over. Baroque Works middle-level agent Mr. 8 dressed as a noble. Ikaram, who is also the captain of the Alabasta Kingdom Guard, nodded heavily. At this moment, the macho also burst into tears. ... Under the sudden heavy rain, the entire Alabasta kingdom was plunged into a boiling sea of joy. The people were dancing with joy. The laughter was one after another, mixed with the sound of the rain falling, echoing above the sky of Alabasta, which was so pleasant to the ears. However, in the ears of some people, it seems so harsh. The sound of rain and cheers, in the ears of Crocodile at the top of the Pyramid Rain Banquet, seemed to be the world's mockery of him. After 2 or 3 years of hard work, I once returned to the pre-liberation period. His plans to capture Alabasta and his plans to capture the ancient weapon Pluto all failed with the fall of this heavy rain. I don't know how many years it will take to implement it again. What the hell is going on? I have clearly locked all the moisture over this country with the rustling fruit ability, why is there still rain? Crocodile screamed in anger. In the next second, he seemed to realize something. Under the influence and control of his rustling fruit ability, there will be no rain in this country at all, let alone the ultimate heavy rain that covers the whole country. In his cognition, in addition to the jokes of God, there is another possibility that he should not be able to do this. Damn, who the hell stole my boat? It made the plan I prepared for 3 years go to waste. Absolutely, yes, spare, no, you. Crocodile let out a furious roar, and rushed towards the center of the rain cloud with murderous intent. Chapter 19 Extreme Conqueror Kneeling Sand Crocodile Open Black Lens Bracket 4/5 asking for votes Close Black Lens Bracket. Of rain. Down 3 hours. Under the moisturizing of heavy rain, the whole kingdom of Alabasta is reborn. It has rained. Clear sky. After the dark clouds dissipated, a rainbow appeared in the sky, as if to herald the new birth of the country. So pretty. Looking at the huge colorful arch bridge in the sky, Robin exclaimed from the bottom of his heart. I just felt that my whole body was much more relaxed. However, the smile on Robin's face soon froze. Because she saw a person standing on the bank of the Sandora River. Wearing a black fur coat, with a big back, there is a long stitched scar on his face, and a pirate gold hook on his left hand. Gee, Crocodile, so fast. Robin recognized the partner standing by the shore with whom he had worked for about 6 years. It is Shichibukai Crocodile with the ability of the Logia rustling fruit. It took only 3 hours to get from the rain to the bank of the Santara River, which was too fast. Just when Robin on the bow was subconsciously panicked by the appearance of Crocodile, Crocodile on the shore also saw Robin on board. Immediately, the expression on his face was as cold as the frost of 10,000 years. Goo tilde ha, Missile Sunday, Nico Robin, you're really my partner. Crocodile spoke word by word, with a smile on his face. But Robin could feel the rage behind Crocodile's smile. No wonder. After all, he had worked so hard to prepare a plan for 3 or 2 years. But before it was about to be fully implemented, he suddenly couldn't get it. No one can stand it. Wow. On the riverbank, Crocodile's body became elementalized and disappeared suddenly. Next second. The quicksand reassembled Crocodile's true form aboard the Gustav. Nicole Robin, I'm really curious now, why on earth are you sabotaging my plan? It can't be because of conscience. How could a woman like you still have a conscience? Crocodile sneered Rode. At this point, he is not in a hurry to take revenge on Robin, who is already a lamb to be slaughtered. Until then, he wanted to know why Robin betrayed him. Even if they are destined to turn against each other in the end, at least they have to wait until they see that piece of history. Can't this woman have been found? Crocodile, you're right, a woman like me has long since lost his heart. But someone gave me a little bit of his heart a few days ago, so it's different now. Robin calmly answered. Facing the murderous oppression from Crocodile at close range, Robin was not afraid at all at this moment. Because that person is here. Someone. Then I really want to know who is willing to redeem you, the devil's son. The expression on Crocodile's face became more and more calm. He had heard what Robin meant. Culprit, responsible for today's heavy rain is not only Robin, but even the other one is the mastermind and the culprit that badly happened to him. Robin's ability to translate historical texts remains useful. Then I'll take another daring guy first and pour out my anger, Crocodile thought, and a cruel smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Nicole Robin, let that man out, Crocodile said. Hasn't he been standing behind you all the time? Robin smiled brightly. Huh. Crocodile was stunned. The next moment, the stunned emotions turned into horror. Little Crocodile, are you Shichibukai? Luo Lin's faint voice exploded in Crocodile's ear without warning, like thunder. At the same time, Crocodile finally felt the strangeness behind him. Feeling the heartbeat, breathing and the huge threat in the close proximity, it seems to be death. Swish. Cold sweat instantly flooded Crocodile's body. At this moment, the calm, controlling expression on his face is long gone. It was replaced by puzzlement, shock, disbelief, and an unconcealed fear of death. The young and famous Crocodile relies on his powerful Logia ability to be invincible. No matter who he is, he can play a dozen or so, and he can beat him. Whitebeard has made him feel the threat of death. Now, standing silently behind him for some time, the ghostly figure is the second. And the death threat this time was much stronger than the one that confronted Whitebeard. It was so strong that he felt that he might die if he couldn't even resist. Damn, who is it? When did a master of this level appear in the ocean again? Why is such an existence in Alabasta? Crocodile shouted in his heart, unable to accept this sudden fatal blow. Kakaka. Crocodile gritted his teeth and turned with all his might. The joints and bones on his body also made an overwhelmed click, as if they might collapse at any time. However, just when Crocodile is finally about to see the true face of the person behind him. Boom. An unparalleled vast coercion descended. It was as if the weight of the whole world fell on him, surpassing his bearing limit. Puff. Crocodile, the mighty Shichibukai, knelt down on the deck under the immense pressure, smashing 2 holes. However, at this moment, Crocodile seemed unaware of the fact that he had kneeled in humiliation in front of others. Because he realized a fact that shocked him even more. This terrifying pressure that even he can't resist is not some devil fruit ability, but Conqueror, Haki. Chapter 20 Shocked Sand Crocodile Sandstorm Burial Open Black Lens Bracket 5/5 asking for votes Close Black Lens Bracket. Could this be Conqueror's Haki? Deck of the Gustav, Crocodile fell to his knees, cracking the deck. Under the terrifying pressure, the expression on his face was hideous. The emotion called shock occupied all his mind, and Crocodile, who had a high self-esteem, even ignored the humiliation of kneeling on his knees at this moment. Could this be Conqueror's Haki? But, how is that possible? How could there be such a terrifying Conqueror Haki in the world? What a monster this is. I can't move because of the pressure alone. This level of Conqueror is unheard of. No, wait, this feeling seems to have happened before. The power that rises above all things, and makes all things allegiance to it, the highest level of Conqueror Haki and even the awakening. Conqueror of One Piece, King of Pirates Roger. Split second, Crocodile's mind went back and forth, and he finally remembered the source of this inexplicable sense of familiarity. That was more than 20 years ago, when the former One Piece King of Pirates Gol D. Roger was active. He had felt a certain influence and even domineering over nature emanating from Roger from a distance. Boom. Crocodile, who was in shock, fell to the ground, and his body was crushed on the deck. What the hell is going on here? Robin, who witnessed this shocking scene with his own eyes, opened his mouth in an O shape. Marine Vice Admiral with Shichibukai. Robin thought it would be a fierce duel. Who would have thought that it would end up like this? Obviously Roland didn't do anything, but Crocodile suddenly knelt down. After kneeling, he fell down. Also shocked were the group of Bakuro agents hiding in the cabin. Not long ago, the sudden arrival of Shichibukai Crocodile made them panic and hid in the cabin and did not dare to move. Only now did I dare to take a look at the situation outside through the window. Then they saw the mighty Shichibukai Crocodile kneeling upright in front of their boss. Could it be that the terrifying Shichibukai pirate is also a subordinate of the boss? Also our comrade. At this moment, many Bakuro agents couldn't help but have such a mental supplement in their hearts. As a result, the eyes of everyone looking at Luo Lin became more and more frantic. The boss is mighty. President Haki. Even to conquer Shichibukai, as expected of a boss. Led by the middle-level agents on the ship, a group of Bakuro agents cheered. Crocodile, who was still lying on the ground, was stunned again. He meow, you are sincerely burying Lousy, right? I will be crushing that monster hockey to the ground now. What kind of mighty hockey is this? Kuro thought annoyed, but the next second he reacted. Mighty hockey boss mentioned by the Bakuro agents on the ship doesn't seem to be referring to him. Could it be that? After thinking about the reason, Crocodile suddenly became angry again. A bunch of idiots, who are you calling boss? I'm your boss, I'm Mr. Zero, the president of Baroque Works. Crocodile roared angrily in his heart. His subordinates inexplicably recognized the enemy as the president, even if there were only dozens of them. For Crocodile, it was equally unbearable. Especially at this time, those idiot subordinates were still unaware, and they were even making fun of him, the real president. With this feeling of suffocation, Crocodile's eyes darkened with anger, and he almost spit out a mouthful of old blood. That's when Crocodile realized something was wrong. The terrifying aura that was pressing down on him like a mountain was gone. Disappeared. His body is now more relaxed than ever. Opportunity. Little Crocodile, isn't it enough? Roland asked calmly, who had withdrawn the conqueror. Whoosh. Before Luo Lin's voice had completely fallen, Crocodile, who was lying on the deck, suddenly turned into an element, and swept out without looking back. Uncle, he's going to escape. Robin, who had reacted with hindsight, said in a hurry. It's okay, he can't run. Roland said confidently. Crocodile crossed the Sandora River and returned to the desert on both sides of the river. Crocodile's terrified expression gradually calmed down when his feet landed on the desert. The breath from the desert land greatly boosted his confidence, so he stopped. As a Logia Rust fruit power user, he was born the king of the desert. When he was on the boat before, he was suppressed and unable to fight back, but now it is different. The vast desert is his home. On his home court, he fears no one. Even if the opponent is the one who looks too young, but it is a monster with the ultimate conqueror haki. Little Crocodile, do you think you can beat me in the desert? Crocodile's thoughts, Roland couldn't help but chuckle. Don't underestimate people too much. I was just careless before, and then I'll show you my horror. Crocodile spoke coldly. Boom. Just as his voice fell, the earth suddenly shook violently. Look over there, am I dazzled? Why is the desert moving? A Bakuro agent pointed to the resuscitated desert land in the distance, and suddenly shouted in horror. No, then, that's Shichibukai Crocodile's ability. The middle-level agent on the ship retreated in horror. Rumble rumble. In the thunderous rumbling sound, the barren desert seems to be turned into an ocean. Layer upon layer, 1,000 layers of sand waves are piled up, forming a terrifying desert tsunami that is more than 100 meters high. Did you see it? You monster, I'll let you try my moves next. Crocodile, who was standing at the highest point of the desert tsunami, grinned Isho, his smile full of grimness. Sand, storm, big, burial. ...